Hey, what's up, and welcome to Movie Dumpster Season 5, Episode 12. Today we're talking about Stepfather 2, Make Room for Daddy, from 1989, directed by Jeff Burr. I'm Joel Escola.
And I'm Sean O'Rourke.
Wait, who am I here? Anyway, welcome to the dumpster.
I don't know, Joe. You said, who are you? Who am I?
I'm Jerry, Dad. Good night.
Oops. Well, I'm Dr. G. Nice to meet you. Not Dr. Giggles. Let's not confuse the two.
What was it? Bill Kriegson. Krieger. Bill Krieger.
He's got so many goddamn different names between this movie and the first one.
The first one, yeah.
Jerry Blake is his main one that we'll get into.
Yeah, we'll get into that. So here we are. Happy Stepfather's Day to you and yours.
Happy Stepfather's Day. The second one in the MDU, or on this show, I should say.
Happy Stepfather's Day TOO.
Right, okay, yeah.
Two.
Yeah. Exactly,
yes.
Exactly.
So
make room for Daddy.
Come to Daddy.
Yeah, Uncle Frank's gonna be coming out hard and fast this episode. Hellraiser, guys.
Uncle Frank versus the stepfather. Hey, it could happen, McWorld.
I'd love to see it.
So we're talking about Stepfather 2 today, and we had already covered The Stepfather, the thriller classic from 1987.
Yeah.
Back in our what season was that? Was that 3?
3, yeah,
Okay.
Season 3.
Do you remember what episode it was? Doesn't matter.
Now you got my tongue. Stepfather's tongue. Stepfather's got it. Or something, I don't know.
You boys like tongue? Here comes fucking
Daddy. Just keep going.
Mama Fratelli.
Oh, well, you want me to go down that rabbit
no,
hole
I
again?
don't. I just
body melt. We got to get Mama Fratelli on here so I can just start putting clips of what the fuck I'm talking about in here.
One day we'll do something.
I mean,
with,
throw Mama from the Train, man. I'd love to cover that one.
Or what's that one? A Deadly Friend. Yeah.
Yes, you've told me about that. Haven't seen it, but you have mentioned it previously.
Yes.
And now these messages.
Support for Movie Dumpster is brought to you by Manscaped TM, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code DUMPSTER at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 8 million balls. You know, Sean, I'm a big shaver of the family jewels.
Yeah, Joe. Me too.
But you know, I can't tell you how many times I nicked those nuggets trying to get that smooth finish.
Dude, same.
I don't have to worry about that anymore since I have all these awesome products from Manscaped. Sean, do you need a Father's Day gift?
What about a Stepfather's Day gift?
Oh, now you're talking. You know, it is this weekend. But you should probably just go ahead and order, give him a little card or something that you're going to get him some Manscaped stuff, Manscaped package.
Oh yeah, like the Performance Package 4.0. It includes the 4th generation lawnmower trimmer featuring a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. And also has a 400K LED spotlight so you can see under the old meat tunnel while you're going to town on those pesky plum whiskers.
The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer.
Both the lawnmower and weed whacker provide proprietary skin-safe TM technology, which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate areas.
The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Crop Preserver TM ball deodorant and Crop Reviver TM ball toner. It'll leave your sweaty sack smelling like a fresh summer breeze. After you harvest that crop, slip on those sweet Manscaped boxer shorts for the ultimate breathable ball bag experience.
Speaking of ball bags, the Performance Package 4.0 also comes with the Shed Travel Bag to store all of your Manscaped maintenance materials, just like the Stepfather's briefcase.
You can turn that naughty jungle of love into the great plains of pleasure.
I think the Stepfather would be very happy to receive this as a gift, Joe. He needs order, especially down below.
Most definitely. His wife will be saying, whose balls are they here?
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code DUMPSTER, that's DUMPSTER, at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code DUMPSTER. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
So yeah, I want to welcome not only Terry O'Quinn back to the show, but Jeff Burr, our good friend Jeff Burr.
Good friend.
Now this is our third movie that we're covering from him.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we did Pumpkinhead 2 with Tony from Hack the Movies. That was our debut episode of season 2.
Speaking of Uncle Frank, starring Andrew Robinson himself.
It's the MDU, baby. That's where the it all stemmed from. Maybe not where it all stemmed from, but where a lot of this comes from that we talk about.
Yeah. Season 3, I think, is when we started introducing into the again MDU for anyone keeping count, Movie Dumpster Universe. We had Lubden really came into full effect there with The Well and the poker game with Corpse Fucker and Cumdar and P-Head.
Yes.
Speaking of, cavitycolors.com. I'm wearing your Pumpkinhead t-shirt right now.
It's a great shirt. I actually have that one as well.
Yes, you do. I was driving over here like, all right, well, I live an hour away, so I can't change. So I'm either wearing this or nothing. So I hope Joe doesn't wear the same thing.
We weren't on parallel terms with that one, so you're good.
But you got Spookies.
I got Spookies, yeah. He also directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, which we did the commentary track for.
Yeah. Go watch that with our commentary track, patreon.com/moviedumpster, $5 and $10 tiers, because we have thoughts about that movie. Ken Foree's great in it, but the rest maybe kind of falls apart.
Well, I don't know. Go check it out. See for yourself.
Yeah, fair.
He also did Puppet Master 4 and 5, and I'm bringing it up again because we brought it up the last 2 times.
Yeah.
Because I'm ready, Sean. I'm ready to tackle the Puppet Master series. I'm ready to fucking just dive in there.
Okay. I know a lot of people don't like 4 and 5, but I really only remember the cowboy puppet. Are they puppets? Like, it's Puppet Master. They are puppets, right?
His name is Six Shooter, and he was introduced in Puppet Master 3.
Okay, so maybe that's where I'm remembering him from, and not actually 4 and 5.
No, he's in 4 and 5 as well.
Was that a?
That's what he does.
Okay.
Like
I thought that was a Renfield reference for a second there.
No.
You threw me for a loop.
No, and his little bandana goes up and he pulls out his 6 guns and shoots.
I always like that slug woman toy.
Oh, Leech Woman. She's actually up there.
Oh,
signed by good old Charlie Band himself.
She's hanging out with Larry the Larva from Silent Night, Deadly Night 5. But anyway, I'm with you. I would be all for Puppet Master deep dive.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well, he also did direct. I wrote these down specifically.
Okay.
3 episodes of Big Bad Beetleborgs, which I still don't remember.
3 typical average kids inside a haunted mansion.
Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Just by chance, freed a ghost, and now they're Beetleborgs.
Yeah, that weird Jay Leno fucking Caesar Amaro Joker guy. I still don't remember. He had a huge chin.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what Sentai that was ripping off. One of the Power Rangers or Ultraman.
No. It wasn't Super Sentai, and I forget what Beetleborgs was specifically. It wasn't Kamen Rider or anything.
Yeah,
that was something else. Just like VR Troopers was a specific tokusatsu.
Because Kamen Rider would have been my next guess, but he's usually, from my understanding, on his own, or he has like a team. But anyway, I digress. And he also did 2 episodes of a show we mentioned, I think on the last episode, on a Predator one, or if not, definitely on our Killer Clowns episode. 2 episodes of Land of the Lost, the 92 series.
Yeah, I saw that too. So that's kind of neat. So there's a Kyoto connection there too. Nickelodeon, whatever.
So I figured, what the hell, mention it.
I don't have a problem with Jeff Burr. I think he's fine, but he's like the king of sequels, right? of doing the direct video sequels, but he did such a good job on this one that they actually theatrically released it in like limited theaters.
Oh, okay.
It was supposed to go direct to video.
I think he's competent in this.
Yeah, that's fine.
He does a good job.
Yeah. So yeah, we got music by Jim Manzi in this. So Patrick Moraz from Yes does not come back to do this score, but it's not that bad. It's not as good as the first one. That's for damn sure.
Okay.
What?
Whatever you say, Joe. Yeah.
You know,
it sucks. I hate the music in this movie.
It's not too bad.
It's fucking horrible.
It's not too bad.
There's a couple scenes where it's like, you'll bust my balls for saying this because it's not quite it, but it's like circus music.
Fucking circus music.
Especially some of these scenes where he's like moseying around in his fucking lawn. It's like, it's like all this happy-go-lucky music. Like, am I watching Stepfather 2 or is this Munchie?
Let's be fucking real. You said the same thing about the first one.
No, I did. I just listened to the episode. I like the music in the first one.
No. Not all of the music. Just those specific parts where we've talked about it. Where it was like the after school special.
Wow.
Yeah, because the music is really fucking good in the first one.
Oh, yeah.
But like...
I wish they used that song that's in the end credits in the goddamn actual movie.
Yeah, well, to the fact of the matter is, like, it's just... It's like a dime store slasher kind of soundtrack.
Sure.
A lot of that, we'll get into it, but
it's
a
not
lot
the world's worst. I mean, I'm over exaggerating.
I think it's fine. It's just mediocre.
Yeah,
like
okay,
it's
okay.
fine. Like it's inoffensive. So this is written by John Orbuck or Auerbach, however you say that. He directed an episode of Monsters, and this is the only movie he's written.
Okay.
So, and it's not that great. Like, for Stepfather 2, look, that is this is, the first one is such a big movie to follow.
Oh, well, I guess that's kind of my big bitch about the music, really.
Yeah.
It's just comparatively, I guess if I didn't watch it back to back just as prep,
Yeah.
maybe it wouldn't have bothered me as much, but... And I don't want to give put the cart before the horse here because we're literally in the beginning of the review,
Yeah.
but it's just, I would agree. And there's a documentary, actually, it's like 30 minutes on the Stepfather Blu-ray from Shout Factory called The Stepfather Chronicles, and he's on there.
Gotcha.
Or the guy, I'm sorry, not the guy from this one, but the guy from the Stepfather.
Right.
And he explains like his writing process, and they have the director on there and explain like, we're going to get into 2, which I would argue is a little bit more of a slasher than a thriller.
Agreed.
And they specifically talk, and we mentioned this on that Stepfather episode, so if you want to get the full breadth of that, you can head back last year, season 3, and check that out. But they talk about how, they didn't want to just do another slasher. They wanted to make it more of a psychological thriller. This one's supposed to be a big body count kind of movie. It was more about Terry O'Quinn is just fucking crazy, and he's trying to create the perfect family.
And they pull it off stunningly.
Yeah.
It's such a great film.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best thrillers of the 80s.
Yeah,
I think we even said it on that episode.
Yeah, and it bombed at the time, and it did really well in video releases and after the fact, and that's how we got to Stepfather 2, and then eventually 3, and then even more so eventually a remake.
So actually, Synapse put out, I don't own it, but Synapse put out a Stepfather 2 like special edition DVD when the remake dropped in 2009. I didn't pick it up, but apparently there's a ton of special features and shit on it with Jeff Burr, commentary track. I think even the Stepfather Chronicles is also on there as well, but specifically for this one. Did you watch? So you watched the Chronicles?
I watched the Chronicles. It's like half hour.
Did they have Jeff Burr in there?
No.
Okay.
They had the director, the writer, the main cinematographer, and Jill Sholin, who played the daughter.
Gotcha. Okay. I need to pick that disc up because I don't have that one.
It's a really good transfer too.
Yeah. Well, I definitely need the Stepfather. I don't have the Stepfather or Stepfather 2 on disc at all.
Okay. Speaking about the transfer, Stepfather 2.
Yeah.
It's on Tubi.
Yes.
They do my least favorite thing, and you're going to make fun of me for complaining about this.
Go ahead.
It's a fucking widescreen movie in 4:3, so you get the fucking black bars on all sides. That drives me insane, man.
Yeah, I think that's just because it's the nature of the DVD rip, and they did not upscale it. Like, they just left it that size rather than blowing it up a little bit.
And the annoying thing's going to happen
For
to me
1080?
later when I get home, because I zoomed in on the screen, and I'm going to forget, and I'm like, what the I can't fucking see. I can't get to my goddamn video games.
I just watched it with the black bars.
I was
the black rectangle.
I was like, I can't. I fucking can't.
By the way, Stepfather 1, 2, and 3 are on Tubi.
Yes.
For your viewing pleasure. So if you missed that first episode we did, or you're just tuning into this and you want to check the Stepfather series, the whole thing is on there.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking good. Third one, maybe. We're going to cover that next year for Stepfather's Day 3.
No!
Yeah.
I mean, the lore runs deep, so okay.
So just real quick, there's one last thing.
Sure.
So this is produced by the Weinsteins, and they're notorious for punching things up. So they went to Jeff Burr and they were like, yeah, we need more blood in this and more blood and gore and all this bullshit. So like everybody on the production was against it. Jeff Burr and even Terry O'Quinn himself. And so much so that like Terry didn't even want to do it.
That honestly makes me feel a little better about the movie as a whole. Because again, not to keep going back to the first one, but that Stepfather's Chronicles, they're talking about just the way everything was on set.
Yeah.
And it's just like when you hear shit like that, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, but that's not
what at least people signed up for in the first place.
Stepfather's not that kind of movie.
No.
And we're trying to kind of turn it that way. Even though it's aggressively trying to stay on course, you can feel it being turned that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From the writing to the effects of the choices, story choices, things like that. But other than that, unless you want to talk about the deep lore of Terry O'Quinn in the Winter Stepfather program before we get into this.
Okay. I guess we might as well just get it out of the way because it's going to probably come up a few times throughout. Again, movie dumpster universe.
Yes.
Last year, Terry O'Quinn took the MDU by force with the fucking
2 years ago.
Oh Jesus, yeah, 2
We're
years.
season
Holy
5.
God. Time flies, Joe.
Sure does. Time flies when you're moving in on people's families and killing them.
Yeah, clearly, yeah. So Terry O'Quinn, as we're just going to probably refer to him this whole time, Jerry Blake.
Yes. Well, the problem is he's got 4 or 5 different fucking names, so we're just refer to him as Terry O'Quinn.
Right, exactly. Or we could call him Dr. G. They call him Dr. G.
Dr. G, yeah.
Again, not Dr. Gills. We'll come back to that. I promise that's the last time I'll make that joke.
That's Master G.
Oh,
yes, no.
Okay. Terry O'Quinn is the Winter Step Soldier in this universe, aka
The Winter Stepfather.
Exactly.
Okay?
TM.
Yes, the Winter Stepfather TM. So we talked about on that first episode the first 3 movies together.
Right, to get
briefly,
the full picture,
just to get the full picture. But the way that he becomes the Winter Stepfather is because of the 3rd movie.
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
In fact, oh my God, you see that pizza just flew by? I think Munchie just threw a pizza across the screen.
It's possible.
It's because of fucking Munchie, straight up, which we did cover later, but the you know how the show works.
The connections.
Yeah. So Crookshanks from Munchie, who was like this fucking scientist guy, maybe from Russia, we're still not sure.
Well, he's like the Russian Jew. He's very eccentric.
Yeah.
He lives across the street from Gabe. He's working on a secret program called The Winter Stepfather.
Yes. And Terry is his main subject. There are others that I'm sure we mentioned, but Terry was always the one we came back to.
Terry was the one we came back to because he's the one who got out. He is Bucky, right?
Right.
Because he goes out, he lives his normal life trying to do his family, and then all of a sudden a fucking switch flips, and he kills them all.
Birdhouse. Family. Children.
Family. Children. What was the other one?
I got it written down. Hold on.
No, you're going to summon him.
Birdhouse, mustache, toupee, family, kid,
Context,
Mr. Ed was one of them.
Mr. Ed.
And, like Joe said, he's activated and then he kills the family
Yeah.
like he does multiple times throughout the series.
Yes.
But yeah, you're right. By the 3rd one, now
he gets tossed in that fucking wood chipper, which we'll come back to. But his hands get away.
the yin and yang of his hands.
The yin and yang of the Winter Stepfather, Terry O'Quinn. One is Thing from the Addams Family, and the other is the Idle Hand from Idle Hands. Go back and check that episode out. Jesus. Was that season 1?
It's definitely in the pocket there.
It's definitely in the pocket. It was a Trick or Trash special.
Yes. J-Love brought her way into the goddamn MDU.
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I called her J-Love in one of the episodes, so I was seeing if you picked up on that or not.
I call her J-Love.
Yeah, I think
In
that's
the
maybe where I
Munchie-
got
in
her.
the
That's
Munchie
what it was.
episode,
Munchie.
yeah.
Oh, she's in Munchie, right?
Yes, she's not in Idle Hands.
Oh, right. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Idle Hands is what's her face from Fantastic Four.
Yes, Jessica Alba.
Jessica
You're right,
Alba,
you're right.
the Albinator.
Where the fuck am I going with this?
I don't know. He's got 2 hands.
Right, he's got the 2 hands.
Yeah.
So just to finish that thought, when he gets put through the wood chipper, he ascends. And if you don't know what that is, because I don't know if we even really talked about Ascension this year.
No. Well,
I don't want to go deep into that because that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Yeah, let's not. But if you want, it's on the Elves episode, it's on the Mosquito episode, and it's on the Demonic Toys episode. You can find all about Ascension and the Wizards and how that afterlife works.
Right, I think even Drainiac might go into it a little bit.
Drainiac has a little bit, yeah.
But basically, they go on to the other life, let's say, and he's working for the MDU Wizards, again, Gunnar, Charnetsky, and Haggerty, and
Yes.
Till in the Fields,
Mhm.
originally created by Meteor Man. The references are going to keep. I think Spivey's involved from Willie's also in some capacity.
The winter, what do we call him? The stepfather wolf? He's like the white, they call him the white wolf.
Yeah, something like that. And then
Yeah.
I had said maybe he gets these mechanical hands, and I did a Photoshop that
Yeah.
on the video version may be on screen right now.
Yeah, they build it out of like garbage.
Yeah, exactly. And then, every once in a while he's needed, just like the Winter Soldier was needed,
Well,
and he gets reactivated. But sometimes he can resist it.
The wizard's backyard is like Wakanda, right? Yeah.
In this
Something
instance,
like that,
yes.
yeah.
Ali Oates is in there somewhere trying to keep the house together. Again, I said this is coming in fast and hard, guys.
Oh yeah.
And just to finish the thought so we can get on to the actual review, he gets activated, but sometimes he can resist that. But unfortunately, that idle hand, it's pure evil. It's gonna do the dirty work if he doesn't.
It's off doing its own thing. That's for sure.
So, okay.
Hiding under people's beds.
Yeah, well, right, grabbing on the cars.
Yeah.
So
Ripping off that guy's from Offspring's head.
Yes. So, of course, Terry O'Quinn is just, involved in all that. And then, whenever the idle hand goes after its next victim, we don't know if Terry stops it or if Thing springs into action. They've had hellish duels
Yes.
in Mordor, volcanoes, all across the MDU. It doesn't matter.
Well, that's why that's why he's now at the Wizard's Castle, because he's separated from the evil. From both halves. He was torn. But now he's just Terry.
And we did forget
With
one.
metal arms.
We did forget one major element to all this. Crookshanks works with John Hurt, so obviously
You know
that's why Terry O'Quinn goes to the Wizards.
Yes.
Because, they're also kind of, they're troublesome, but they're the good side of a very fucked up coin.
The Wizards are like the shitty Avengers of the MDU,
Yeah.
and John Hurt's
They're kind of like the boys.
there you go.
Oh my god! Whoa, that fucking fits in the. Ooh, who's Aquaman? The Aquaman guy. That's fucked. Might be Charnetsky, I guess, or maybe that's DVD. She's not even an official
That's
member.
a whole nother. We'll get to those people.
Okay, well, that's the gist of that. Hopefully, we didn't lose too many of you.
Yeah. Well, by the way, if you're ever confused and you're like, "What the fuck are they talking about?" There's this handy dandy
Oh yeah.
MDU index in every description of the episode on YouTube, anyway. And we link to each point in time that we're talking about it, and that'll link you to your episode, so you can get the whole fucking picture, like collecting the fucking comic books of Movie Dumpster to figure out the whole story. It's like the Infinity War saga.
We used to do these things on Instagram called MDU Mondays, and it was kind of like a blown out version of this with some like actual thought put into it instead of just seat of the pants fucking storytelling.
Well, a lot of things have changed.
Well, true.
Going into video, yeah.
I know we've mused about this in the past, I should say, of maybe eventually doing a side series in some capacity. That's what is the MDU, whether that's like a minute long thing or a half hour, or I don't know the semantics of it because it's not coming anytime soon. But it's something I would love to do eventually, and that would be the Winter Stepfather would have to be its own episode.
Yeah, even a 2-parter maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if we get to the third movie eventually before we do it, yeah.
I think we have to do the third to tell the full story.
True.
But that being said, I mean, there's a lot that we want to do that we need to like get back on the rails for and figure out. But it's all coming. We're working on it.
But before all of that crap happens, after he goes through the shredder, there's another movie that happens before that.
Yes. So this is kind of like a little, in terms of the MDU, this is like a little prequel almost.
True. Oh, I did forget one thing as I'm trying to hand off to the actual movie. I brought it specifically to reference this joke.
So we're talking about the first Stepfather movie at the moment.
This Blu-ray.
Yes. From
the first one, right?
No.
Yeah.
From Shout Factory?
From Shout Factory, yes. Go
or
check
Screen
it out.
Factory? Screen Factory or Shout Factory?
I mentioned this at the time, but slip covers. They have reversals. We're gonna cut for editing here.
The magic of editing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a character in that movie who we lovingly referred to as the Discipliner, who then he made a reappearance in Silent Night, Deadly Night 5. Why that movie comes up so often, I don't know. I'm sorry.
It's a good one.
He's killed in the movie, and of all the things to put on the slipcover, his fucking dead body. Why?
That poor son of a bitch in them. Spoilers if you haven't seen the first movie, but
I mean, you have no context.
You have no context or the road how to get there.
So that'll be on display for the rest of the episode. Because holy shit, Shout! What? Thank you, I guess. Now let's actually talk about the movie.
So Stepfather 2.
Yes,
We get the recap in the beginning. Now,
you got our recap. Now we get it in the damn movie
right
too.
out of the gate. We are doing something that is wholly given to slasher type films. Okay, where they retread what happened in the previous sequel. I mean, Friday does it in every fucking movie. Yeah, for sure. But even the Nightmare movies, they do that sometimes too. However,
even Hellraiser 2, kinda.
Kinda, yeah. But it feels a little strange for this, and it kind of sets the tone immediately for what you're getting into.
Sure.
This is not the classic thriller that we've gotten in the first film. We are now shifting gears to this kind of slasher-esque tone to this whole thing. So it shows you exactly what happens at the end of the first movie, which we're not going to talk about. And then he wakes up in a cold sweat in the Puget Sound Mental Hospital. So he has survived the events of the first movie somehow.
Shot, stabbed, fell down a flight of stairs. Okay, sure. Clearly, at the end of the movie, he's like this.
He got a knife through the fucking heart. Okay? You don't come back from that. You don't bounce back from that. Clearly. And you see him with his fucking scars. He's got
I just don't know how long I keep that going. Sorry.
He's got scars where the stab wound was. He's got scars where they did like the open heart surgery or whatever to like fix him, ? They never tell you how he survived. This is so like classic studio bullshit. They're like, well, the Stepfather did gangbusters on video. We're going to put this one direct to video, baby. Stepfather 2. And it's like, all right, how did he come back? He's not a fucking supernatural force They just kind of glaze over it, and it's like, okay.
I mean, so is Michael Myers, but I digress. He's in this like cell. You find out very quickly he's in the insane asylum, like Joe was saying. But he has like model houses, like a model neighborhood. He's building in the corner,
Which I'm kind of into because he's always trying to. It's like that commentary that he's always trying to build the perfect life, with like the perfect house. This is not my beautiful wife. This is not my beautiful house. No.
Well, he does build that birdhouse in the first one.
Yeah. Well, that's what again. Well, that's also kind of like his weird thing in the first one that like calms him down. He
Like
does,
woodworking.
the woodworking
Yeah.
and like working with his hands, what have you, like distracts him from being a fucking homicidal maniac a little bit.
Yeah, somebody should have told Dr. Danvers this information. This moron psychiatrist.
Terry Brown is Dr. Danvers, Dr. Joseph Danvers. I wanted to mention him because I totally forgot he was in this movie and I saw him. He's in an episode of Monsters.
Okay.
The Love Hurts episode of Monsters, and he's in a Tales from the Crypt episode, Dead Weight with Whoopi Goldberg.
Ooh.
That's a good one too. So we'll be covering those eventually, but I wanted to mention him because it's cool to see him in this.
Oh yeah. Looking forward to that. But yeah, he's Terry's new shrink.
Question mark?
He's supposed to be.
Well, he's the new shrink of the whole facility, and he's like,
right.
There's a thing where like you don't know, like he doesn't know like the procedures and shit, and he thinks he's he's gonna heal everybody in this place, and you think Terry O'Quinn's like a fine guy. He's like, you seem like a nice guy. Me, seems like a nice guy. Take his handcuffs off, Sean. He needs to help some trust me. Take his handcuffs off.
This guy deserves to die.
Yeah, even the fucking guy, he's like, he's a fucking animal. I'm not taking his handcuffs off.
Or the guard.
Yeah, the guard.
But he does it.
Yeah, I want that hat he's got. The fucking Puget Sound
Oh, yeah.
Penitentiary hat.
eBay,
Pretty cool.
maybe.
No, I'll just make one.
There you go. So he takes these handcuffs off him, and every time he does something that's like to the benefit of Terry O'Quinn, like you see this little like smirk or like glit in Terry's eye, like, okay.
Terry is also a smart motherfucker, as we learned from the first film.
Oh yeah.
He's very calculated. He's very intelligent.
I mean, he's killed, as far as they know, at least 3 families, maybe more.
At the end of the first movie, it turns out like he's been doing this for countless years.
Yeah. Changing his appearance.
Also, we
moving.
mentioned I know some of you are probably in the comments going, "Oh, this was based on the John List killings." Yes. We go over all of that in The Stepfather, the first review. So
Right.
check that out. We're not going to do that here. Although it'd probably be good for analytics if we can add true crime to the podcast.
Yeah, that'll be in the description. Don't worry. But yeah, he's just kind of cozying up to Terry, not really getting the seriousness of this guy's case.
Well, he thinks he's fixing this guy.
Yeah.
You know? And he's like, well, why'd you do it, man? And he's like, well, I just wanted the perfect life. And every time I had the perfect life, it just didn't go the way I wanted. So I had to hard restart.
Well, yeah, because there's actually a pretty cool scene here where they keep showing Terry in the wood shop, which again, maybe things were different in the early 90s, late 80s, but I get that they're not straight up criminals here, even though he murdered all those people.
Well, he's criminally insane.
Yeah, but letting him do all this woodwork. I guess they don't let him use the table saw, but he's building these houses. So he builds a little man even to go with the house. And in that scene where he says that line, he's presenting it and he smashes it off the table and everyone's like, oh shit, what's going on? And then he explains, hey, I think I could fix this kind of stuff all the time. That's why I do it.
Yeah. Which in response, the doctor's like, oh, that's great. That's great progress. Great progress.
Let me turn over here.
Meanwhile, Terry already has a mark on this guy, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna get this motherfucker. We see like all these flashbacks between all of his escape, and he's like pulling hair out of the back of his head to like build a mustache for later.
That was fucking stupid.
Dude, you thought it was stupid?
I thought that was really stupid.
Why?
What is he sticking that to him with? Is he coming in his hand and just going, oh, no, I got a mustache?
We have a fucking full wood shop in this mental facility. You don't think there's a thing of paste there? Some
all right,
glue?
fine.
Some fucking spirit
I thought
gum?
that was a little silly, personally, but
I kind of liked it, especially because it keeps in line with him changing his appearance. And stuff like that.
yeah. But I love it when he grabs that little man that he built and he like
There's
pushes a button
there's
on
a fucking shank out in it. How did he do that?
I don't know, but again, that guy's like, like facing the wrong way. Oh, this is gonna be great for my book or whatever.
Stabs him right in the back of the fucking head, right in the neck.
And he's like, ugh.
And this is probably one of those scenes where they added some gore because it feels like they added like an insert shot of him like bleeding and shit.
I didn't mind it on this kill.
No, I think it's fine. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like,
yeah.
it could go either way.
Agreed.
It's not about that, you know.
And no matter how I feel about the cum mustache, or glue, we don't. Verdict's out.
Do you remember when Beavis and Butthead cut off all their hair and glued it to their face?
Yes,
But it's Terry O'Quinn with like fucking cum stash.
Oh my god, yuck.
There you go, Terry. No
Wow.
problem. Yo, you think Cumdar came to him at night, like Pennywise in the Moon for Henry Bowers?
It lines up a little better because as we find out later,
Terry O'Quinn. Here you go, Terry. Gives him a
Walter
milk
Peck-
mustache.
Walter Peck's
Yeah.
running when he hears that scream. Oh, he's looking for cover. But
Well, he wakes up in a cold sweat somewhere else.
oh yeah, exactly. But to your point though, the disguise is kind of cool though. He steals the guards. He kills the guard and then steals his outfit. And
Fucking
then,
beats him to death with his own nightstick.
and then he fucks off. And then this is kind of where you're just like, all right, this is more of like a straight up slasher because then he just finds some poor bastard like getting off the Amtrak.
Well, I like this because he leaves the mental institution like in the clothes with the fake mustache on.
Oh, and they're like,
And
turn
he's-
to the camera, and he just turns the radio off.
And he's whistling the Camptown Ladies, which again he becomes like his Jaws theme. You know,
It's way more of a plot point in this movie than the first one. The first one's just like, wow, this guy's nuts.
yeah, it's very integral to the plot.
Mhm.
So I mean, where it's his connection or our connection to him, rather in that first movie,
Yeah,
his human side. rather.
I like that a lot in this movie. I have a couple nitpicks
Yeah.
about it, but overall execution of that in this film is pretty cool.
Yeah. So like you're saying, he fucking comes up on this guy who's like just got off an airplane.
Yeah,
And he's like
yeah.
leaving. He's like, oh, and Terry O'Quinn, he's trying to get his fucking luggage in the back, and he's like, hey, you need a hand there, guy? He's like, yeah, I bought this fucking trunk with a big trunk space. You want to help me out? He puts his fucking hands in it, and Terry O'Quinn just like slams his arms.
He's like, ah!
And it cuts to his little scarf hanging out the back. What did he do with that body? Eat that one? Maybe.
It's possible. No, he took it into a junkyard and crashed it around a
Don't
little.
spoil it yet. Come on, that's such a good fucking scene.
That's his new MO.
Maybe he did do it with that. No, because he's got to keep the car.
Sure. But he takes this guy's he doesn't steal his identity, but he steals all his credit cards and everything, and
Yeah.
creates another identity. But because they show him like in a hotel.
And he's like putting his contacts back in. He's got a new hairpiece that's kind of dyed a different color.
Yeah, which I guess it's supposed to imply he's got like hair plugs or something. It kind of looks like.
Yeah, but so this is a little strange for me. So we see this big transformation of him in that first movie. And we've made a bunch of comments about him literally changing from somebody who looks completely different to somebody else. And that's what makes
bushy
it
hair.
Yeah, and that's
huge
what-
beard.
and that's what makes it terrifying.
Yeah.
This, he just looks like Jerry from the first movie after he transforms from his last identity.
And that's one of my problems with
So
this
that
movie.
kind of pissed me off a little bit.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, he has this like he's balding,
But he's bald. But he's bald in the first one too.
Right, but
And he
then
puts
he
a
has-
fucking wig on.
Yeah, and then it's like they show the picture of him in the paper and on TV, and it's like, how are you not fucking putting
How
this
don't-
guy together?
How don't you recognize him?
Yeah, that was a little silly, but whatever.
The only thing I can really figure on that one is that the news wasn't out too like over it because he goes to Los Angeles in this one.
Well, no, he goes to New England.
No, he's from New England.
Oh, okay, my bad.
He says he's from New England.
Got you.
So maybe it's that thing where like, the news didn't travel fast enough, but that's broken because Meg Foster hears it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
They don't show his picture, but Meg Foster knows about it.
it's just, I agree. It's just that he looks too similar, which, I mean, hey, whatever. You're not going to cover up Terry's face and everything. I mean, you could have.
No, but like, there's no transformation. He doesn't grow a mustache or a beard or anything like that.
like you said, just slightly different color hair to cover his fucking bald spot. That's
it's exactly the problem I have with the Stepfather remake.
Oh, yeah, you were talking about that on that first episode.
Yeah. Go back if you want to hear thoughts on that. So he randomly chooses a new identity out of the obituaries. But the thing with this obituary that is important to remember, there's no picture. Just put that one in fucking pocket there. So he adopts the name of Dr. Gene Clifford.
Dr. G.
Dr. Gene,
Yeah, and I think
who's a psychiatrist.
which there's some pretty good humor with that, where it's like
It's
he
great.
killed a psychiatrist, and he was even giving the guy some like back talk, which was something he did do in the last movie when he has like that line when his stepdaughter's psychiatrist is trying to feel him out in that house scene.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, so, I forget the exact line, but it's something like, it's like a family, all that crap.
You know what I mean? A family, home sweet home, all that crap.
Like, throws it back in the guy's face. He does that with the psychiatrist.
Well, yes, because in that first movie, that scene is like the psychiatrist pushing his buttons because he knows exactly what to do. In this, he's like taking what the doctor had said to him and kind of using it as his identity.
Yeah, well,
to make it sound like he's a doctor. You know what I mean?
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I like that he keeps that character trait that he's a little bit of a snarky motherfucker.
Yes.
When he gets heated.
Yes. So he's watching TV and he gets like room service and shit.
But
And-
that's where he gets a newspaper with his
That's
literal
what
picture
his fucking picture's right on that.
in the paper. Yeah.
Jack shows up. He asks him for a piece of toast.
Right.
Gives it to him, yeah.
Lou Gossett Jr. comes in with the pizza.
Yeah, he got the pizza guys there. Yeah. So he's watching a TV show, probably the same one that James Hong was watching when Mr. Groper came in to fucking.
You know what it actually is? It's the same show Kevin McAllister's watching in Home Alone 2.
Oh yeah.
And he's talking about the Trump Plaza. It's literally the same guy, Eugene Ubex or something like that.
So it's like a game show,
Yeah.
and I kind of like this because it's one of these things where it's like, and this is what they'll win, Johnny, a beautiful house in Palm Estates in Los Angeles. Here you go. It's like this new development, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, the perfect place to start a new family? Because they're like, it's the perfect place to start a new family.
Oh, tell me more. Ooh.
That's the ticket. That's the ticket.
So then it fades to like one of these houses and it's like leasing now and he's already there getting shown the place by Meg Foster.
So Meg Foster, before we get to Meg Foster, I just want to mention that we're in the fucking MDU. This neighborhood's in the fucking MDU. So you know the fucking Freelings are down the block and the Cruises are down the block. So we got poltergeist going on, and we have Mac and Me happening down the fucking street. Little aliens getting sucked up with a fucking vacuum, and somebody's house is built over a fucking Indian burial ground.
Yeah, and I think Tom Hanks is somewhere in there. Him and Henry Gibson are on the block.
Oh
down
yeah, the
street,
Burbs.
too.
Yeah.
Lines up.
Yeah,
Friday Night honestly might even be happening there somewhere.
No, that's in the next town over.
All right.
Yeah.
We don't want too much going on in the same place.
No, but it looks like the House of Poltergeist and Mac and Me.
So Meg Foster showing him the place.
As Carol Grayland, but we'll probably call her Meg Foster
Yes.
for most of this episode.
She is not in a lot of movies, but she's one of those actresses that has a very recognizable face and voice.
Her eyes,
And her eyes.
are like this piercing ice blue. She's like a living Fremen, dude, from Dune.
Yeah, actually, that's a good way to put it.
She's very gorgeous. She's in They Live, of course, with
Yes.
Roddy Piper. She's in a really good flick, The Wind, that we had talked about on another episode. I think just recently. I mean, she's in a bunch of movies. She's a great actress. But yeah, like you were saying, she is the realtor, and
Oh, I love this though because he's like looking around the house and he's like asking like some bullshit questions, which is kind of funny because he was a realtor in the next one, so he knows how this all
in
works.
the previous one,
Oh, right. What
Yeah.
did I say? Next, Jesus.
Yeah. He's a gardener in the next one.
Oh.
Please,
Okay.
don't get me started. Go on.
But there's a whole thing in the first one where he's always going in the basement, and he does this in multiple places where he killed his family, where he goes and does the woodworking to blow off steam. So he goes and he's like looking around this house, and he's like, "Hey, it's got no basement." She's like, "Well, a lot of people around here just do woodworking in their garage.
He's like, no, I need my freak out murder basement.
I need to be one level below everybody when I melt down
When
with
I
my
have a fucking meltdown.
with my red flannel jacket on." They lost that detail in this movie.
So she just got a divorce, or she's going through a divorce, rather, or her husband left her, rather. And she lives directly across the street from this fucking house that she's going to sell him.
Why you would tell this guy this on your first meeting, I don't know, but I guess if he's moving in anyway, sure.
Yeah. And then so literally right after this, we get introduced to her son, who is Jonathan Brandis, and he plays Todd Grail.
A very young Jonathan Brandis too.
Yeah.
I mean, R.I.P. Died very young
big
too.
time. I mean, he's my Bill Denbrow, little Bill Denbrow in the Tommy Lee Wallace TV series. He's in Sidekicks with Chuck Norris, which is fucking great, which I would love to cover that. He's Bastion in Neverending Story 2.
Yes.
And Ladybugs with our good friend Rodney Dangerfield.
Never saw that one.
You never saw Ladybugs?
No.
He dresses like the chick to play for the girls' soccer team, so like he could win because he's really fucking good at it.
Okay.
Because I forget what the plot is. I feel like Rodney Dangerfield owes like the mob money or some shit
Oh,
like
well.
that.
Of course, Rodney Dangerfield owns somebody money.
He's
in
like,
one of his
hey, you gotta
movies.
dress up like a girl and fucking play soccer for me.
Hey, let me know that triple Lindy we haven't mentioned on the show in a hot minute.
See that?
Yeah, do?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why I kind of wanted to bring it up. Just real quick, on a slightly more somber note, he passed away in 2003, and he hanged himself. He was 27. And he hanged himself, and because he thought his career was like going down the toilet, and he was like drinking heavily and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like one of those things where like maybe it could have been prevented.
Well, yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's just like it's another thing of I think Soleil Moon Frye had done a documentary recently, and she had a ton of like footage with her and all the child actors at that time. And I think she was good friends with Jonathan Brandis.
I really like him. I mean,
I think he's great.
Doesn't do a ton in this, but the stuff he's given, he's very good at.
I think he's great in all the roles that I've seen him in.
Bill is the one that always comes to mind for me from it.
That one and Neverending Story 2 and Ladybugs.
True.
Big time. But you know, check up on your friends and make sure they're doing okay. Because I feel like that was something that could have been avoided.
I totally agree.
You know, even if I have to give some tough love, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But on the lighter note, he's skateboarding through the house. Who didn't want to do that when they were a kid? And Meg Foster's kind of giving him carte blanche because they just, his dad just split, so he's kind of doing whatever he wants. And I love this scene too because he's like, hey kiddo, let's celebrate. I just sold another house. I got a 16-inch fucking pizza with the works, and I bought you all the baseball cards I could find in the pharmacy up the street. I'm like, holy shit, that's a good time. But I'll
take Magic cards, please.
Well, yeah, Magic cards are probably Pokemon cards at his age.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
both. But yeah, he's all bummed out because dad left, because dad fucking, you come to find out that he fucking split because he was a dentist and he like was fucking his 23-year-old secretary and then like ran away with her.
Oh my God. Yeah, that comes up a little later. But like immediately, and listen, I get that like when people meet, sometimes there's a connection and sparks are already flying. But like, and again, the movie has to have plot happen. But I think it's a little odd that like she shows Terry O'Quinn the house. He gets it.
Yeah.
And then she's like immediately infatuated with this guy because she's like looking out the window like, ooh, and he's like out there like, well, I'm reading into it maybe a little bit here, but
I think it's less because there is a passage of time, but it's not done very well in this movie like the first one.
That's true. That is a good
point.
So
we're talking months here. This isn't just like overnight or a couple days.
Right, because I guess he gets the lease and then it's implied a year passes or something to that effect.
They do say that. Yeah, it's like a year or some shit like that. And the months go by, years go by. So he's working on her for a long time.
I guess that's a good point. Yeah.
And I love this next scene because he's doing like the video dating thing with the VHS, and he's like looking for fucking potential people, women he could like take advantage of or build a perfect family with.
It's like all these like stereotypes of like not the perfect woman, or if you want to call it
like there's like a gold digger and some other woman who's like super independent, and he's like, this is disgusting. There's
some woman who's like droned out on empty ooze that's just like
I love this woman because she's sitting there just like, and Terry O'Quinn's like, and he's about to change it but doesn't change it and waits for it and then shuts it off. Do you for my groomsmen tapes, I did like a spoof on one of these things. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was a trip.
Are you looking for me? I'm looking for someone. Where can you be? Someone.
Hi, I'm Joseph, and I'm looking for a trendy girl with a simple smile. Wait, that's not right. Excuse me.
But I kind of like that about this movie because he doesn't go right for Meg Foster.
I mean, yeah, she's checking him out for sure.
Well, yeah,
but it's not a done deal.
My point is, he's trying to do all the video dating thing. Then now he's under the guise of the psychiatrist.
Right.
So now he's a fucking marriage counselor. Okay. So he has all these women from the block plus Meg Foster plus Caroline Williams. Hey, Caroline Williams, how are you?
Stretch.
How you doing? Leprechaun 3.
Right, well, Loretta, right? Mm-hmm. Big ass and lips.
And she's baby. She looks great.
Yeah, she's great in this, actually.
She's really good in this. And I feel like a lot of people don't talk about this role. It's either Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 or Leprechaun 3.
I mean, those are pretty iconic, so
no, for sure. I think she's great in Texas Chain too, but there's something to be said about this role. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think she's really good in this. But he's got all these women like in a circle, like you said, talking about their problems with their marriages. And I love how this one woman is like talking about, my husband wants me to hum and I didn't learn the show tunes. He's like, Okay, what's the big deal? She's like, well, he doesn't really want me to just hum them. He wants me to hum them when
Terry O'Quinn's
I'm
like,
kissing him down there.
she's like, well, humming when I'm doing the thing. He's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about, lady. What are you talking about? Fellatio?
When I'm sucking his dick.
I go, and he's like, you suck your husband's penis? You're disgusting. Why does he make you do that? And she's like, I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, he's like disgusted by it. It's like, all right, I get you're supposed to be like the war cleaver of the place, but it's like people have sex, Terry.
Sex.
He's
Disgusting.
in that first one, he's like having sex with his wife.
Shelley Hack he does it in this too, but you see more, he's pissed off about it more in this one.
Yeah, but it's like in that first one, it's like it's just part of being a husband. But I guess I never thought about that. But the sequel's kind of like, because he is that all-American dad, and it's very like the 50s kind of BS. It's like, oh, sex? Oh, no, don't talk about that.
Yeah. I love that. So we get that. So I was just talking about the VHS dating thing too, and now he's like a marriage counselor, and I love that like he's switched to prey upon these women, to
that's his
pose
plan
as
B.
to pose as psychiatrist, so that now he can drill down and really get to the meat and potatoes of like what he wants out of a woman, while also simultaneously being able to move in on these women that are divorced or widowed.
Well, right. I'm saying plan B because the tapes didn't work out.
Well, no, I just thought that was funny because there's another layer of like gross shit happening there. You know what I mean?
100%.
Whereas the VHS thing is played for comedy. This is like psychologically fucked up.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
So we learn about Meg Foster's divorce and like how he left her for the young hygienist or whatever, and now they start to create that connection together,
right? Because
she's been going to therapy for a few months now or something like that, and then as we progress, she starts getting closer to him because he starts like taking an interest to her specifically because she has the little boy and she's very like about family values.
Yeah, but she doesn't wear it on her sleeve like he does. I mean, again, he's not to keep referencing like Leave It to Beaver.
She's like Angel in the Streets, Devil in the Sheets kind of thing going on.
Yeah, but she comes over to him and they're chit chatting, and because he brings his groceries in, and it's a patented stepfather move. He drops these fucking groceries because he knows she's gonna come over and help him.
I was thinking the same thing, and we compare him to Dahmer in the first movie. This is a fucking Dahmer move, dude. To be like, oh, can you come help me do this so I can prey upon you?
He's like, oh, if it wasn't for TV dinners, I don't know if I'd eat. And she's like, hey, you know the secret? And there's another great like swerve, I gotta say.
Yeah.
She's like, get someone else to cook for you. And you're thinking, all right, well, she's going to cook for him. That's a little sexist, but it's hilarious because it cuts and they're like eating Chinese. I was like, all right, that was pretty good.
I thought that was pretty good. But like, I feel like that would deter him because it was like, oh, you got to make a meal. You're the perfect mom.
Well, that's where I thought they were going with it. Yeah. But they're having Chinese and Terry can't help himself, man. He's already calling this kid slugger and he just met him.
He's ready to go. He takes, after dinner, he like takes him outside, teaches him how to pitch.
He's like, if you throw it overhand instead of sideways, I'll come right back to you.
Go, kiddo. I'll show you my workshop. Let's build shit together.
Meg Foster comes out, sees him doing the catch. She's already doing one of these.
Yeah. That's so sweet.
Yeah, but you're right. Yeah,
Phil never did that.
Phil never did that, even though he had a Los Angeles Angels jacket on later. He's not into baseball.
Well,
but you're right. Yeah, they're in the garage doing some woodwork.
Yeah, so they make a skateboard ramp, and he's like busting ollies on this fucking thing, and like he's just connecting with this kid, and they're
with his name etched into it.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, again, takes place over this year. And he's fine. Like all of this stuff kind of works itself out, and he's like always hanging out with the kid and like doing stuff with him and like having dinner at the house and shit like that.
Like that element of it, I do like a lot because compared to the first one, it's like he murders his family in the opening, and then it's 1 year later he's already with the new family, so you don't get the setup.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it's all set up. I mean, outside of the final scene, the last act rather.
Right.
It's the courting time. Or the courtship time, however you want to word it.
And the courtship time involves creepy picture taking. And he takes
a little mark to the left.
He takes this perfect picture, and then puts it up in his fucking workshop, and like takes the other one down of I think it's Shelley Hack and Joel Sholin, and like crumples it up and throws it away. And then he's, my new family, make room for daddy, TM.
Yeah, that
he says it like 3 fucking times.
I know, he keeps saying it. Yeah. Terry O'Quinn's like, they're gonna make me do this piece of shit. All this gore is not what I signed up for. I'll say this line as many times as I can.
That's why he's having his meltdown.
It was channeling his anger.
So again, so there's now it's like a year later at this point, and the husband shows up, Phil, while they're having a session, and Terry Quinn sees him pulling across the street, and
He's
he has
instantly distracted.
he has a fucking aneurysm, dude, and he's like not listening to what Caroline Williams is telling him.
Caroline Williams was like, yeah, I took a mnemonic test to see like my intelligence, and it was really depressing.
He's like,
wow. He's like, well, yeah, just try it another time. She's like,
What?
it's not a math test. What are you talking about? He's like, oh.
Do better next time, he said.
Oh, yeah. And she even like pulls him aside after it because he does it again. Like obviously too busy looking at
Tuning
the guy
out,
across the street. And she's like, hey, did you hear a word I said in there? Like, that was kind of important. He's like, it's all in here. And he like, slaps his little book.
They're paying him to be their psychologist. I mean, it's group therapy, mind you, but still.
So yeah, this leads to Terry then going over there to Carol's house and being like, oh yeah, we gonna get it for dinner later?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw around the old pigskin with Todd there. Who else walks out but Mitchell Lawrence as Phil Grayland? Did you see who this guy was from?
No.
The Runestone. He's the
What character?
He's the guy who gets possessed by Fenrir in the Runestone.
That's like obsessed with sex and all that?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So here you go, some more MDU lore for you. After he gets possessed by Fenrir and then comes back because they take Fenrir out of him, right?
Yeah, it's Sigvaltson, the time god.
Sigvaltson, the time god from fucking Die Hard, comes and fucking kills the werewolf.
Vigo, right? Yeah.
Vigo, yeah. And he ends up losing everything. And then it becomes a dentist.
Right, he doesn't die at the end.
No, he doesn't die at the end.
He's a dentist,
he becomes a
exactly.
dentist. He's a real asshole.
He, after that experience of being like a wolf man,
Yeah.
he's like, I saw Rudolph, Bumbles bounce. I think you pull all the teeth out, obviously.
Imagine coming back and beating the fact that you were a Norse werewolf, right? Only to be dispatched by fucking Terry O'Quinn for moving in on your previous squeeze.
I mean, to be totally fair, we know who originally dispatched him. It wasn't just Sigvaltson.
Oh yeah, it was his buddy. They got the fucking axe from the movie theater.
Well, there's that, but it's Fanducci from fucking No
yeah.
Name Norm.
Yes. Well, no,
Or
from
no,
the
I'm
mask.
sorry. Right, yeah, from the mask. Jesus.
He's the Pez eater.
Yes.
Best fucking candy in the world.
I knew it was connected to something. I don't know why I went right to Norm. That's Kaminsky. Different cop. Shittier cop.
He's a Zagnut guy, not a Pez guy.
Right, yeah. That's insane, though. Yeah, he comes out, and Terry's just like, okay. He's like, yeah, I'm Phil. I'm Todd's father.
Oh, man. He's like, oh, that's great. See you later. And he goes home and has a fucking meltdown in his wood shop. And he's just like cutting wood like all fucking crazy. He's fucking beating the picture with a fucking hammer on the table. And then Caroline Williams comes to the door and she's knocking on it because I guess she forgot her hat or something.
Well, she forgot. This fucking hat, by the way, looks like the one Grandpa wore in Terror Vision.
Yeah, I tell you what about the B-52s.
That's what it looked like.
Hey, well, kind of, yeah. Well, she's a male woman. So,
oh, yeah, I guess that's what it was.
So she gets her hat, but she's like snooping around. So she looks in his book, and like she opens it up, and there's nothing written down in the book.
Well, it's all in there, Joe.
It's all in there.
And then he walks in, and he's holding this hammer, sweating like a hog. Like, yes, can I help you?
You think he's gonna beat her fucking brains in with the hammer, but he doesn't.
I mean, I was gonna say he's not that stupid to do that in his own house, but then something happens like 15 minutes later, so...
Well, the idea of her just coming over and just like walking into his home, you think that she would be fucking taken out right then and there.
She's like pretty suspicious of this guy early on, but she's kind of like the discipliner of this movie, but not as reckless and actually like figure some shit out that makes more sense than the discipliner.
Yeah. Well, yes and no, because she
starts going through his mail.
She starts going through his fucking mail.
Yeah.
But before, so Meg Foster breaks the news to Terry O'Quinn that Phil's back and they're gonna try it again, get back together and whatever. And Terry O'Quinn's like, well, we should make sure that he's on the up and up. You send him over. I'm a psychiatrist. I'll talk to him. I'll see what the deal is, if he's for real or not. Okay, you just send him over to my house.
And like they make a comment here where like when he first gets there, like, oh, where's Todd? Oh, he's not home, and it's heavily implied that it's just like he didn't want to see his dad because he's pissed at him.
Oh yeah, and he does that to him a few times.
Yeah. So then Phil fucking comes over to see Terry with that again the Los Angeles Lakers jacket. I don't know why that stuck with me. Maybe because we just did Predator 2.
And the Angels.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And he's such a fucking asshole, dude. Like he's like, yeah, I'm only here because Carol wants me to fucking talk it out or something with you because you're the psychiatrist or whatever.
I mean, he's an asshole, but also I don't totally blame him. Granted, he's still a scumbag.
He's a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
It didn't work out with the 23-year-old because it was a 20-fucking-3-year-old and you're like 40-something.
Yeah, no, obviously.
Yeah.
But I love how Terry is just like, yeah, you know what? You're just, she told me that you gotta go and this ain't gonna work out. Yeah, that's what she told me to say. She couldn't say it herself. And he's like, Terry's just assuming that's gonna work. And he's like, I have to hear from her herself. And then he goes to like march out the door and Terry's like, looks all like panicky. He's like, I lied. It was a test.
He fucking puts out his cigarette on the guy's carpet.
Oh yeah, I
On
forgot
Terry's
about that,
carpet,
yeah.
man, and he's like, well, I'm staying for good, so fuck you, make room for Daddy, Chia. So he goes to leave,
right.
and then Terry's like, you lie, I lied. She wants you, and you're the best, and I'm very happy for you. Let's have a drink, shall we?
Let's have some wine.
Pours this guy a fucking vodka, and he's like, you're gonna drink this with me? He's like, no, I was going to crack this bottle open. And he fucking takes his bottle of scotch and fucking hits this guy in the back of the head. It's the best, dude. It's hilarious.
And Terry made sure to go into like his lounge room where he had a fucking nice rug laid out. Because then he takes this broken bottle and just like stabs the shit out
I
of
love the way
guy.
this is shot because he does like a Sam Raimi thing where like the lamp's on the ground and the fucking blood splashes on it and stuff. It's fucking cool.
It's probably the best kill in the movie for me, at least.
But like, this is the only one I really needed.
Yeah, there's
You
one
know?
later that's more just depressing because of I like the character, but for plot purposes, it makes sense.
Yeah, because it's like, well, how do we figure out he's the bad guy?
Right.
But anyway.
We get there. So then he gets a call from Carol. I almost said his wife. From Carol.
Oh, wait. You got this fucking banger line I just wanted to mention before we move on.
Sure.
Because he's like, well, I'm a psychiatrist, you're a dentist. And he's like, well, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? And he's like, when a tooth is dead, you pull it out. You don't wait for it to get better. And I thought that was such a fucking, just a banger fucking line from
And
him.
that's right before he hits him with the bottle
Yeah.
and says, I gotta crack this open.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's Miller time.
I'm kind of two minds of it because, like, I like that kind of stuff. It took me out of it a little bit because even though Terry was kind of like I had mentioned earlier, throwing stuff back at people's faces, being a little snarky, I feel like he's a little bit more jokey in this one. He kind of gets the Freddy Krueger treatment where he just gets sillier in the sequel.
Absolutely. And he gives him the old fucking Patrick Bateman because he's like, make room for Daddy, huh?
Yeah.
Trying to get reservation at Dorsia now, you fuck. And he's like stabbing him.
And then Carol,
after a whole year, you piece of shit.
Well, right, yeah. And then Carol calls and he's like, yeah, we're just wrapping something up. And I'm like, okay, in the fucking rug.
Yeah. Just real quick, because it's intercut with that scene, and Caroline Williams and Meg Foster are like having drinks, and she mentions this wine.
Oh, that's important.
That's very important to the plot because her fucking parents gave her cases and cases of this fucking wine, this fancy wine.
Right, from like that's not like a local thing.
Yeah.
That is important. And she's saying, oh yeah, Stretch, you used to
remember when you had that radio show?
Yeah. Remember when your partner got skinned alive in Texas Chainsaw 2?
Well, that's what happened. She killed Chop Top.
Hey, well, how do we not go into that yet? We've been doing a lot of MDU, so maybe that's why.
So she kills Chop Top. She's dancing around with the chainsaw. She settles down in Los Angeles. She moves from Texas to Los Angeles, becomes a fucking mail woman.
Right,
and she recoups. That's why she's going to therapy. It wasn't the relationship with her ex. That's why she's going through all these. She's got man problems, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Bubba,
yeah. So she had a bad relationship with Bubba. He died. She's trying to get over it. She's trying to find the perfect
He
man.
died with that chainsaw in his gut.
Yeah.
Or
so we thought. Jeff Burr brought him back in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
It really is connected. And she was in it. She's in it. She's a cameo.
Well, yeah, but then she's not even credited. I don't think.
Yeah.
She doesn't even speak on camera anyway.
No. So then we go to this fucking hotel. I guess it's where this guy Spill's been staying.
Well, coming back to the Freddy Krueger line. Meg Foster calls him and she's like, yeah, have Phil call me when you're done. He's like, okay. And then he hangs up and then he's like, hey, Phil, Carol said for you to call her.
It is funny, but I'm just kind of like, why does he
need
keep
it.
talking to this fucking dead body?
Well, because it's a goof for us to laugh.
I know.
Stepfather, it's funny.
He's crazy, but it just was like, I don't know. I'm not trying to just constantly compare the first one, but it is a direct sequel, so it's hard not to. It's
no, the cheese is kind of turned up, and again, like the Freddy Krueger kind of thing is there. So, I mean, it's hot right now, dude.
Yeah,
all of that stuff. The quick-witted killer.
We get it. Like I would consider it a bit of a callback where he throws all this guy's affects into a suitcase.
Oh, kind of, yeah. Oh, yeah. He goes to the fucking hotel. He packs all his shit up, checks him out, and drives his fucking car to a junkyard. I love this scene so much, dude.
It's a great scene, but again, it just kind of took me out of the movie a little bit because I'm like, it's Terry O'Quinn having the fucking night of his life, crashing this car into heaps of like stacks of other cars.
So this is your
going, hey, Phil, did you feel that back there?
How you doing, bud? And he's got this fucking music cranked up.
Oh yeah, it's kind of a great scene.
It's funny, but I see what you're saying because going from the first one to this one and not ever seeing it before, I knew what I was getting into.
Okay.
Right. So like I consider the first movie like a separate thing, and
That's fair.
this is a if you want it kind of thing. I thought I laughed out loud. I thought.
I mean, I'm not trying to sound super negative on it because
no, it's fine. It's your opinion.
but it just was like a very big tonal change. Which again, with that said, a lot of movies that have sequels in this genre does kind of end up like that.
For sure. So he bashes up this fucking car and then finally like parks it or crashes it and then beats the shit out of it like a fucking Street Fighter bonus stage with a jack handle.
And then he does the whistling.
Yeah, he does the Camptown races, but I love it because the payoff for this you don't quite understand because you're like, oh, I guess he's just gonna leave it in the junkyard. But then,
I mean, I had thoughts.
yeah, but the following day, Meg Foster comes over. She's like, did he say did Phil say where he went or anything? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. He said he didn't love you anymore and he left.
She's like, that son of a bitch.
And she's like, yeah, he just checked out and left. I don't know. And it's this intercut with the junkyard and the car being fucking crushed.
Oh, yeah.
And the juxtaposition of the message of like, finally, Terry O'Quinn has solidified his position in Meg Foster's life. Case closed.
Here's another thing, though, with that scenario or scene, rather. When he's walking home that night.
Oh, yeah.
There's little things in this movie. Again, I hate to keep comparing to the first one, but it's hard not to.
It's okay.
The first one, he's pretty much like, he only gets caught for like semantical reasons, basically.
Yeah.
Because of little things that like you really, really, really had to hunt for.
He also slips up a lot because of certain things.
Yes.
The boyfriend is the breaking point in the first movie.
Well, from his psychosis standpoint, but
Yeah.
I'm talking about just finding him as the killer.
Oh, no, agreed. But like, that's what kind of sets it off.
I agree. But in this one, it's just like silly ass mistakes, like like whistling and walking home and, right on the front, like at least try to go through the backyard or something. Because then Todd runs right up to him like, hey, Terry, how you doing? He's like, hey, how you doing, slugger? And he's like, have you seen my dad? And he's like, oh, yeah, no, he left. I don't know. He's like, oh, was he mad at me? And it's like, oh, this poor fucking kid. He's
Yeah.
like, let me take you inside sport for a warm glass of milk.
He's like, you know what happens when I get down? I make myself a big old sandwich. That makes everything better. And he's just like, Todd, it's not your fault, but your dad hates you and your mom, and that's why he left. And I'm gonna be your new dad, okay?
Hey, Terry, by the way, what was that song you were whistling? I never heard that before. Oh, it's from my childhood. Let me teach you how to whistle it. This won't be relevant later.
My dad taught me. It's the Camptown races.
Yeah.
And why? I guess Todd looks up to.
He's got no other father figure.
He's got no other father figure, and Terry O'Quinn's been more of a dad to him in this past year than Phil has been like his entire life, I guess.
I mean, let's not even try to kid ourselves that, this is what he does. He ingrains himself in these families. So he knows how to push, he pushes the right buttons to get this kid to trust him.
He's also had a lot of practice on what to say and what not to say.
Killed a lot of kids.
Yeah. It's like the stepfather Groundhog's Day.
On some level, yeah.
No fudge, skateboard, ramp. Got it.
Right. Birdhouse, family, Mr. Ed.
Well, yeah.
So, yeah. So
they're whistling together, and it's like this weird thing where it's like Terry O'Quinn's passing, like, thinks he's connecting with this kid.
I mean,
on like but like on a different level.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Right? In Terry O'Quinn's head.
Right. And like that scene that you were talking about a couple minutes ago with Meg Foster finding out, like, oh, Phil left. He's like, oh, yeah, sorry to hear that. And then he's like, well, actually, I lied. I'm not sorry at all because I'm in love with you. And then he starts like kissing her.
He just kisses her.
And they're like making out now.
And then
okay.
And then we flash forward to like this fucking barbecue and they're announcing their marriage. And Caroline Williams is there and she's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I kind of like her arc because she's like the only one in the whole place that's just like this. You barely know the guy. This is moving a little fast.
Well, I think Meg dismisses her because she's a fucking Budinsky anyway. Because she's the male lady and she's gossipy. She's like Mrs. Achmonic from fucking Alf. She's always going through people's shit. And she's like, oh, he only gets local mail and junk mail, and he doesn't get anything from like his family or friends. And like, are they going to be at the wedding? And she's like, no. And she's like, well, that's a red flag. You don't even know this guy.
All right.
But they have known each other for a year and change, which I guess isn't a long time.
And it's their best friends. They've known each other for probably 30 or 40 years.
well,
Trust your best friend.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean,
But,
to your point, Joe,
it's almost like Caroline Williams kind of is like jealous, it seems.
that's how Meg Foster takes it.
That's how she takes it because of what's been happening with
Yeah.
Caroline Williams and her relationships.
Because she even says earlier when they're having that scene where they're drinking wine, hanging out, she's like, I thought you said you thought Terry was pretty good looking. Why are you saying he's a weirdo? And she's like, she doesn't tell her what happened when she went to get the hat, but she's like, there's something fucking off about this guy.
She calls him
We don't even know
Dr.
if he's a real psychiatrist.
She calls him Dr. Strange. She's like, why don't you go date Peter Hooten? He's got more hair.
And he's got those powers.
Yeah, he's got that sweet mustache. Actually, Terry O'Quinn looks like Peter Hooten in The First Stepfather.
Oh, a little bit.
Kinda.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, they're in the kitchen and Meg Foster like wants to fuck Terry O'Quinn and he's like, whoa, wait. He's like, don't you want to wait? Like it's my first time getting married and I want to wait, and, like make it special and like do it traditionally. And she's like, oh, I guess I'm supposed to wear a white wedding dress too and all this bullshit.
She's like, what is this, Victorian times?
He's like, wait a second, I didn't mean that. So she gets all pissed off and kind of storms out. She's like, I'm going home because he doesn't want to fuck.
Do you blame her?
No, I don't, because these people are like fucking
Mid-40s.
like late 30s, early 40s.
No, they're mid-40s, early 50s, Joe.
Maybe.
I mean, Terry O'Quinn's...
Depends. I had young parents, so...
No, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
Just because the man's bald doesn't mean he's that old.
I think they're in their 40s.
Okay, fine. Either way.
Either way, Terry O'Quinn, Bachelor for Life, apparently. This is how he's selling this version of himself. Because he says a line later.
Well, Gene, Dr. Gene
well.
is a Bachelor for Life, yeah.
So then we kind of get the culmination of this stretch storyline where she's going through his mail.
Yeah.
And she finds something from Portland.
Yeah,
She's
from
like,
the high school.
Yeah, and she's like, aha, he said he's from Connecticut area.
Mm-hmm.
So she calls him. He's sitting there eating his fucking cornflakes or whatever.
No, it's
or his
Rice Krispies.
Yeah.
I love
store brand.
I love when he pours the milk and he fucking listens to it. And
He's a weird dude.
It's like this wholesome psychopath. Anyway.
I mean, at one point earlier in the movie, he's watching some like puppet show on TV. So.
Yeah. The Thunderbirds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he gets a call and, he's like, oh, okay. Oh, how you doing? Cut to the park. She's there like on a bench, like with this fucking envelope. He's like, oh yeah, Stretch, what's this all about? She's like, yeah, cut the shit. You said you were from Connecticut.
He's like, I'm from Portland.
Well, yeah, he changed his story fast. Well, I said my last
My
job
practice
was from...
was there, yeah.
She's like, okay.
And he's like, I don't like you spying on me and going through my fucking mail.
Which, okay, fair enough. I don't blame him there.
He is a fucking nut, though, so it's
Well,
okay in this case.
Let me rephrase that then. I don't blame anybody that would have that besides maybe him because he's fucking crazy.
Well, it just goes to show that you should check up, and if you're wrong, fine. I'd rather somebody be mad at me for checking their mail. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. So then he's basically trying to like act like, you're trying to catch me in this. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
She's like, well,
It says, she tells him, she's like, oh yeah, well it says you were on a basketball team, and he's like, yeah, I sure was, star player. She's like, yeah, you're the star player, and she's like, but I don't see you in the picture. And he's like, well, that was 1974. A lot changes. And she's like, can this much change? And she shows him the picture, and it's an all-black basketball team. And he's like, yeah, I guess I can't change that much. Fucking so good.
so now we know he's caught, but obviously she doesn't know to what extent.
Because he didn't know the ethnicity of the person, like when he stole the identity in the obituary.
So then she's like, all right, well, you got to tell Carol because if you don't, I will. And he's like, well, let me do it tonight. And she's like, you got the 5 o'clock.
Yeah. I'll do it. Don't you worry.
Yeah. She gets up and walks away, and he was like burning a hole through her with his eyes.
So he buys Meg Foster flowers, fucks the shit out of her, like
Well,
all night.
he comes up with the flowers before he
Yeah.
fucks the shit out of
Yeah.
her. Literally.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, lifelong bachelor having some wedding jitters. Can you forgive me?
Can you blame me? Ride me, baby.
She does.
She sure does.
And he's actually got to like act like he's enjoying it
He's
because
like-
she's riding him on top.
Well, it's just like the Shelley Hack sex scene from the first one.
Well,
It's just
she's doing a
so uncomfortable, man. He's just like
He's like, yeah, look at the ceiling. Don't look at my face.
Roger Rabbit. Think of something else.
Lost in space.
Lost in space.
So then she gets her brains fucked out and passes out.
Yeah. Oh, by the
But Stretch is trying to call her for hours.
Well, that's because Rump came and did a fucking double number on her.
Oh, no.
No, but just real quick, I want to add to the fact that like he tells her, he's like, I got something to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
And he like takes his shirt up and you see all his scars from the first movie. And he's like, yeah, crazy patient attacked me. She's like, oh, that's why you were upset about having sex? She's like, yeah, I look like Frankenstein. And she's like, no, you don't. And she proceeds to lick these fucking scars, which is kind of gross.
Yeah.
But okay.
And then they fuck.
He lies to her again.
Right, and Stretch is like waiting all night to hear like what happened. So she falls asleep on the couch, and we see a shot of basically Terry's bed, but he ain't in the bed.
Oh, yeah.
And we cut back to Stretch. She wakes up, she hears a noise.
This is a really great tense scene, though. I think this is one of the better scenes
Yeah, I
in the movie
agree.
in terms of like. I mean, it's a little stalker-ish, like you know,
Friday the
a
13th
slasher
or
or
something.
Friday the 13th thing because there's
Black
like
Christmas even.
POV shots and shit like that, which is a little weird for this movie or what we've got since the first one.
Yeah, but it like you just said, it's tense. She's kind of going through the apartment. She grabs a letter opener and she's really expecting the worst.
Yeah, it's so cheap though because the cat is in the trash can and that scares the shit out of her.
But it's not her cat; it's just some stray that Terry let in, I guess.
I guess, but it's also the thing of like you just left all that garbage on the fucking floor and turned off the light for the night. What are you doing? You disgusting.
Well, it doesn't matter because as soon as she lets this cat out and puts the letter opener down, here comes Terry with like a ripped fucking cloth.
She steps over Harvey from Painkiller. He's lying on
yeah.
the fucking floor in the kitchen.
Yeah, he's behind the table.
Yeah.
And he chokes the shit out of her and just bye-bye.
Strangles the hell out of her with like a bathrobe belt.
Okay, that's what it was,
The,
yeah.
the creepiest part of the scene is while he's choking her out, the whole time she's looking at a picture of Meg Foster like on her like table.
Yeah, and they keep cutting back and forth to it.
It's creepy.
Yeah. And then he stages it to make it look like she killed herself, and he writes like a really short suicide note, which is like a theme on this show.
Dude, it might as well be the fucking Edward Nygma note from Batman Forever.
That's what I'm thinking of, yeah,
Goodbye,
exactly.
Cruel World, Ed Beagley Jr.
See, his signature matches exactly, Joe.
Sentence structure and spelling.
And it's a fucking creepy shot too because it pans to where he hung her in like the walkway, and he kind of just casually walks past her.
He takes a bottle of that fucking wine. See, this is where he gets a little overzealous, right?
Which, okay, for the end of the movie to work, I
All
feel
of
like
this
it has
needs
to
to-
happen.
I just don't think it's executed as well as that first one.
No, especially again, like the first one, he's so calculating. Like maybe he has a couple slip ups, but it's mostly because he cracks.
Yeah.
But this is like you're basically incriminating yourself by doing this. I mean, obviously he doesn't realize it's some like wine that was sent to her on this special occasion.
Right.
He just sees it and is like, oh, wine.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know the backstory, but pretty bad move, Terry.
Not only is it a bad move, but he like without skipping a beat, let's talk about he like hops the wall and he's like whistling the Camptown races.
Right, yeah.
And thank God the guy's blind, but he can still fucking hear. And he's like, who's out there? And Terry O'Quinn runs away. But he goes right back to Meg Foster, wakes her up from a
like
sound
2
sleep,
a.m.
and he's like, look, I wanted to get some wine. You want to drink some wine to celebrate? And she's like, oh, that's great. Where'd you get that this time of night? He's like, I don't know. I had it.
Yeah.
There could have been any point where Terry O'Quinn's like, I just had this in my house. I was saving it for a special occasion. That's all he had to say.
Yeah. And
The
then
master of manipulation just can't get past this fucking wine.
I mean, after he came, he lost all sense because he's like, I'm no longer the perfect man. Ah!
These pipes are clean.
So then next morning, Meg Foster gets the call, and we get like a quick montage of basically Stretch's funeral, and now Meg Foster at her house selling it.
Oh, God. That's such a disgusting scene, too, when he's like consoling her.
And yeah. First they're in Caroline Williams' house, and then they move back to their house, or I guess Carol's house, I should say. And they're still talking about it, and Meg Foster's can't stop crying. As her best friend was killed herself, as far as she knows.
And she's the real estate agent, so she's selling the fucking house for her.
And she's even saying like it doesn't make any sense because like Terry writes in the note like, oh, I'm sorry I disappointed everybody. And she's like asking him, is there anything you could think of? And you were her psychiatrist. He's like, she couldn't find a man, so she killed. I'm like, come on, Terry.
She couldn't find the perfect man. She was jealous of you, Meg Foster. You found me, and I'm perfect, so she had to go.
I guess from a character standpoint, it made sense of that he would say
Kind of,
that.
yeah.
But I was like, all right, a little sexist. But then
A little.
Well, a lot of. But yeah, they're back at the house talking still, and Terry like, this just happened. He's like, can you get over it? How long are you gonna cry?
He's like, I need you. She's dead. She didn't need you. It's over.
Because she wants to like delay the wedding.
Yeah, and he's like,
no,
we got to have this wedding, whether we go down to the fucking courthouse or the wedding. So she's like, oh, okay, we'll do it. Have the big flowers and the church and everything. Let's do it, Terry O'Quinn.
Oh, and I skipped over what you set it up. My bad. But the old man comes over, the blind man with the spare key. And he sits down. He's like, oh, yeah, she always had a lot of boyfriends.
Coming
but,
in and out.
Yeah, but never one that left that late at night. She's like, yeah, what are you talking about? And he's standing there like, okay, yeah, shut up, old man.
And he's like, fuck.
He's like, yeah,
he was whistling this song that I hadn't heard in forever.
and he whistles it.
And it's the Camptown Races.
And I guess like at this point in their relationship, he hasn't done that around Meg Foster, which in the first one he just did that whenever, but this one, the sequel, that they kind of make it like his killing thing, like when he kills people, he does it.
Yeah, or when he has that, successfully did something fucked up and got away with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? He'll whistle.
I thought was a little stupid, but the way that it works in the plot, I
Again,
feel
it's like his Jaws theme,
Yeah.
But it's here that Meg Foster's like, oh wow, somebody was whistling that thing. We should look into it. He's like, I don't give a shit. Who fucking cares? It's just a song. Whatever.
I never heard of it.
I never heard of it.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting there on my couch like, yeah, well, you taught it to Jonathan Brandis, so this is obviously going to come back, dumbass.
So we fast forward to the wedding, and Jonathan Brandis is taking in a case of the same fucking wine that was at Caroline Williams' house.
Right.
Turns out to be a present from Caroline Williams'
folks.
Yeah. And so they're all getting ready for the wedding.
And Meg Foster has a white dress?
She does. And she looks at the bottle. She's like, oh, this is from Caroline Williams' mom and dad. Oh, the wine. And then she's like, oh, the wine.
And she's like thinking about it.
Fuck. And then Jonathan Brandis starts whistling Camptown Races outside the door. And it all fucking comes together, man.
Even Terry hears it. He's like,
fuck, I better go see what's going on.
She's like, where'd you learn that? And at first he can't remember. And he's like, oh, wait, no, Todd taught me.
Oh, no, Terry. I mean, Gene.
Oh, yeah, he's Todd. Anyway, it's confusing.
Who am I here?
Who are we? Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
So he's in the room now, and he hears basically Jonathan Brandis say this. And he's like, well, we got to get married. You got to get ready. You're going to be late to your own wedding. And she's like, yeah, hold on. Todd, go outside. I need to talk to Terry for a second.
I asked him a question. He's like, where'd you get this wine? He's like, I don't know. I found it somewhere.
Yeah.
And she's like, why the fuck did you teach my son how to whistle the Camptown Races?
The same person who fucking murdered my best friend. He's like, yeah, I think you're overreacting. She's like, you need to tell me. And then he just gives up.
Oh, yeah. It's broken.
Yeah.
It's time to kill the family.
At the church, by the way.
In the church.
Yeah. So he grabs her veil and he shoves it in her mouth and starts fucking choking her out.
Dude,
slams her head against the wall.
Slams her head against the wall. He's fucking choking her out with this thing. Jonathan Brandis comes in and he fucking takes a wine bottle and almost smacks him in the head with it. And he runs away. He chases after him. Locks his ass in a fucking janitor closet.
Yeah. And this last sequence is pretty intense. I mean, we've said that word a few times because there are sequences throughout where it ratchets up and then it goes back down.
This is nothing like the end of the first movie. That one's very intense and creepy and
this is almost like an action movie.
Well, it's more brutal.
Yeah.
In terms of like they're like going around and he's just smacking the shit out of Meg Foster. He's like throwing her into the fucking food tray and like throwing her into a fucking table.
Into the cake.
They
show the top where they cut back to it in slow motion falling.
Yeah. And she fucking stabs him again right in the heart with a fucking serving utensil.
Was he Uncle Eddie? Or Cousin Eddie, rather?
Oh my God, yeah. And
got a metal plating under the skin?
She also stabs him in the fucking hand with a fucking roast beef fork.
Oh, yeah. He keeps coming at her. And this is like, a butcher knife, like hilt here.
Yeah.
How? Okay, whatever.
He pulls it out, fucking bitch slaps her through a fucking door, and she goes flying, it like explodes.
Jonathan Brandis somehow breaks out of this fucking closet.
He takes a hammer and he fucking takes the hinges off the door. But it's thing too, because before like Terry O'Quinn was like teaching him how to use a hammer and like tools and stuff, which is kind of a cool callback.
And while this is all going on, like the people in the church are just like checking their watch, like where the hell are they? Playing organ music.
Play the procession again. I don't know. The fucking priest is like, beats me.
So then Terry removes the knife from his chest, which would cause him to immediately bleed out.
Yeah, it's in the same spot.
Again, does he have a metal plate under the skin there? Is he wearing body armor?
They moved his heart over so that it missed it, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, then they did that surgery.
He's like one of the Titans from Attack on Titan. He can move it to any part in his body.
Or, he's got that Project Metal Beast skin over it, right? They grafted it onto him. Could be.
Another wrinkle in the Winter Stepfather project, I think.
Oh, Crookshank wants to get his hands on that fucking material.
We need to make you stronger.
Yes, but if we put the Metal Beast skin on him, he'll be fine.
He gets stabbed up to the handle. He can live. I don't know what this accent is. It's almost like Mittenspider from Leprechaun 4. Anyway. Jonathan Brandis runs in right before stepfather TM is gonna stab Meg Foster.
And he fucking cracks him in the hand with the hammer. He's like, oh shit. And he like drops to his knees. Jonathan Brandis, claw side of this hammer, by the way, fucking plants it right in his chest.
It's great.
And
And he tried to talk him down first. He's like, yeah, you don't mean it, little slugger, do you? As he's like slowly reaching for the knife, and then boom!
It's good old Gene. And he fucking, dude, this thing goes all the way into his chest. And he falls down, and you're like, well, that's the end of the movie. He's dead.
Oh, well, no, we have 2 more minutes we need to do
Yeah.
first.
This is great, though, man, because so they hear them coming in the door, and they're like, oh, start the music. So everybody's like, oh, here they come. This is great. And they're playing. Dun, 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 dun. And it's Jonathan Brandis and Meg Foster, and they're all beat to shit and bloodied up, and everybody starts fucking going insane.
Yeah, and this is one of those cases where the VHS literally spoils it on the back if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's right on the back. Oh, by the way,
And the cake, yeah.
by the way, I love the art for this. It's so fucking cool, and even it's got the little gimmick, like the foil knife on the front of this. It's such a good poster.
I agree. And then, yeah, like, we cut back to where stepfather was on the ground, supposedly dead or dying, because you can hear him breathing still when they
Well, the
walk
hammer
away.
is like out of him.
Yeah.
On the ground, all bloody.
He walks back into the reception hall and just fucking collapses next to the cake and is looking at this topper like, "Ugh," and then,
death to us part.
and then, much like earlier,
He just he just collapses and dies, and we cut to fucking black, dude. Credits.
you're not coming back. How do you?
You're not coming back from a hammer to the chest.
You weren't coming back from the first movie either,
sure.
but fine, whatever.
Fine, you wanted to make this one fine. How, like, they don't even, so they don't explain how he recovers from his wounds in the first one and the second one, and they don't explain how he recovers from his wounds from the second to the third. Because it's fucking dumb.
It's voodoo magic, man.
Fucking voodoo magic, man.
Fucking voodoo magic, man.
But yeah.
But then we get that cool kind of credits song, which is kind of like a mix of the theme of this film and the Camptown Races, which
the
I thought was
whistling.
cool.
Yeah, the whistling fucking over the credits is pretty cool.
Yeah. That's basically the movie.
So where are we putting this?
I'm putting this one in the dumpster.
Okay.
I think this movie, I don't like this movie, but I do think it is well made and I would recommend it. It's just, it kind of cheapens the first one for me. I still think the first one's like a 5 out of 5, like really good. Rewatched it for the review. It holds up great. If you haven't seen it, fucking get that Shout Factory release or check it out on Tubi. You won't be disappointed, especially on this joyous Stepfather Day weekend.
Yeah, watch all 3. There you go.
Well, you know, if you got the time, yeah, go for it. Terry O'Quinn, of course, is still great, even though I think some of the lines they give him in this are a little corny. You know, he didn't write the fucking script. He's just doing what he was asked to, and he's very effective throughout. Meg Foster's very good in this, and Jonathan Brandis, even though he's not in a lot, I mean, he has more to do towards the end and the beginning. Middle, he kind of gets lost a little once the Phil element shows up. They're all good. I mean, and Caroline Williams is a pleasant surprise in this, and her death is the one that kind of shook me the most because I was like, you knew it was coming, but you didn't realize, or rather, I didn't realize how brutal that was going to be. I don't know. Like, it's got a lot of fun scenes. Like, again, that junkyard scene is pretty great where he's crashing the car all over the place.
I love that scene.
The kill on Phil's really good in some of those lines there that Joe mentioned earlier in the review, and the Caroline Williams kill even, and that final sequence is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I just think just the movie overall just is like this. The character no longer works for me, no matter how good Terry's pulling it off. So I probably won't revisit it, but again, I would recommend it. Like, you got to see this one if you saw the first one, or at least if you're curious, definitely check it out. And it's at the top of the dumpster without a doubt.
Yeah.
You know, it's not even under the dirty diapers or the moldy donuts or hamburger bags.
Sure.
You could reach for it easy. My hand goes out and the other one goes like that, slaps it away. Thing comes out and slaps it away.
Oops.
The idle hand comes out of the garbage can like our logo, and you know, it's holding this movie, and you know, grab at your own risk.
So this is a tough one. This might be my first dumpster in a while. And the reason for that is it's just not great. Like, it's good. Don't get me wrong. Okay. Again, I love the poster art of this. I think there's a lot of fun scenes in it. It's such a departure from that first movie. And I think I said it on the Stepfather episode. It's like, it does not need a sequel. That is this is an enclosed, nearly perfect thriller, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Stepfather 2 is the corny cash-in movie which I like. I don't hate this movie at all. I like it, but it's in the dumpster because that's what it is. It's so, like you said before, it cheapens the first one so much, and it's such a departure that I can't get behind it and in goodwill tell people or recommend this, right? I think you should watch it and check it out if you want a goofier version of the first movie.
Or if you just want to see what the hell happens next, if there is because they exist.
They exist, and if you're interested, I mean, watch all three for sure. But with the exception like a handful of like Terry O'Quinn being goofy with his killing and little things like that, there's not too much meat on the bone for me here. Again, it's doing the things the first one did, but worse. And kind of speeding it up. And now we have an additional wrinkle with Caroline Williams' character of somebody else finding him out rather than, having Jonathan Brandis kind of discover it or have a journey with the kid like we did in the first one. And I can understand why they didn't want to do that. And they kind of substituted Caroline Williams for Jonathan Brandis, right? Because in the first one, it's Joel Sholin that's kind of not sure about Terry O'Quinn. Now it's Caroline Williams is not sure about Terry O'Quinn.
Right, because Jonathan Brandis is like all in until the final scene.
Exactly, which I guess might work. But he even goes against his own rules sometimes in this, and that kind of bothers me because it's very set in stone in the first one what it is. And not that like that you can't deviate from it, but when you do that, it takes away how great the character is. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's some fun scenes. This is definitely a fucking J-Boy or a six-packer for sure. This is a good one to put on. When you get a bunch of friends together and watch it because it's corny enough, but I just don't think it does anything either particularly well. It's not a great thriller and it's not a great slasher, so it's very like middling, But it's still a fine time. It's just not necessarily a shelf movie for me.
I would agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also have a mini-sode coming out this month at some point over on patreon.com/movie dumpster. That's for the $2 tier, along with, we got a lot of mail lately from you folks. So maybe it'll be one junk mail, maybe it'll be two, but there's some coming.
Well, you get the junk mail and you get the minisodes on 2, 5, or 10.
True.
So even if you're on that 2, you get those episodes. But our Predator 2 episode just dropped too.
Yes.
If you haven't seen that yet, go check it out.
With Tony from Hack the Movies.
That's right.
It was a friggin' big deep dive on Predator and Predator 2. Well, mostly Predator 2, but we talked about a little bit of every
talked
Predator.
About comics, we talked about Predator itself, we talked about video games, all kinds of stuff regarding Predator.
Yes. We also got this event coming up next month as of this recording, July 16th, 2022.
Yep, July 16th, Saturday, July 16th at the Colonial Theater in Phoenixville, PA. We're doing Magic, Mayhem, and Little Rubber Monsters. Yep, we're doing Ghoulies and the Gate in 35mm film, double feature, live show. We're going to be doing some live bits in between.
Yes.
And we're going to be doing some big giveaways. There's going to be all kinds of shit. There's going to be great vendors, special drinks, all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to have a blast watching some Little Rubber Monster movies with you guys. We're going to have a really good time. You can get your tickets now at colonialtheater.com. That's theater, R-E, not T-E-R. And there's a link in the description down there. You can grab your tickets. Or if you're listening to this, there's a link in the podcast show notes.
And if you want, there's a Facebook page for the event also. If you want to check that out, put that on your calendar.
Set up your reminder, yeah. That's
going to be a ton of fun, Joe. Like you said, there's going to be vendors, friends of the show.
Yeah.
It's going to be a pretty stacked event.
It's going to be a stacked event. We're going to have the community coming together and getting together and supporting each other, and that's the big thing for this. So,
Dumpster Dwellers Unite.
A lot of local artists or friends of artists, like you said. So it's going to be a really cool thing to have everybody come together and share their love for B movies.
Yeah.
And specifically Little Rubber Monster movies.
Yeah. And as always, if you can, leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're watching this on YouTube, like the video, share it. And if you're not subscribed, hit that button, please.
Hit those buttons. Leave that review. It helps us get out of the bottom of the dumpster into more eardrums. You guys have been awesome lately with supporting the show and sharing it and getting other people to watch it and leaving reviews and stuff. Please keep doing that. It lets people get exposed to the show. All that algorithm bullshit and all that stuff, it's true. It's all true. So if you like the show and you dig the show, help us out and show your support.
I think honestly the chopping mall robots are in charge of the algorithm, Joe. But yeah, please, yes. all
Either
of that,
way, makes us more visible. Recommended.
well,
So-
and especially the reviews on your Apple Podcast
Yeah.
or your Google Podcast
or
and
your
all that.
Spotify too.
Yes, because when people are searching for the podcast like ours, it'll make it appear higher up in the search.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. That's Stepfather 2, Make Room for Daddy from 1989, directed by Jeff Burr. I'm Joe Lascola.
And I'm Sean O'Rourke.
Thanks for visiting the dumpster, and happy Stepfather's Day.